time an embedded systems engineer. So I've been in the field for some years, quite like 5, mostly in the business of IoT, where I've tried to test out various concepts in technology when it comes to IoT and embedded systems. Been to multiple conferences, summits, where this kind of stuff is discussed. It's quite interesting, and I believe many of you here will get to get a glimpse or a touch lead towards this this exact topic. So we are going to try to discuss about IoT applications, and Mr. Mbarako will be taking us through and trying to point us to the right direction as we keep discussing. Thank you, Mr. Mbarako. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hillary. So you can know now that we have a right person who we can ask a few questions about the Internet of Things. Well, so Internet of Things, that's how I understand it, is a way how we can develop or connect different things to internet, and they should be so that they can be able to send information to one another. Let's say that you have a refrigerator at home, it can be able to tell you when it is running out of grocery. Let's say that you have a door at home, when someone touches it, it should be able to send you a message. Let's say that maybe there is something that maybe like just as it sounds, things, watches and doors and refrigerators and the television and even machinery that you use day to day. You know how you can connect them and make them be able to communicate with one another. So everything can be automated. So we're going to see in that perspective how we can be able to implement that kind of knowledge in order to solve African-based challenges. So we shall go with our very first question that we have prepared for the guest, and that is to explain to us the broad perspective, in his opinion, and what are the 3 different development challenges facing Africa that can be solved by Internet of Things. So I want you to, Mr. Hillary, to explain to us the broad way of what is meant by Internet of Things, since you're the expert in this field and Internet of Things, and also to tell us like 3 different challenges that are facing Africa in different industries, agriculture and maybe medicine or other industries, and how those challenges can be solved by implementation of Internet of Things. And then from there, we shall go to our following questions while people have understood the scope of what is meant by Internet of Things.
Thank you for that, Mr. Mbaraka. It has been discussed earlier, Internet of Things is generally it's a collective network. By network, we mean that a connection of various small, big, medium devices that create somewhat a form of a network in between them to easily share communication, to easily share files. Literally, it's more of like different devices trying to talk to each other to achieve different or a similar purpose. That's how I understand Internet of Things. Mm-hmm. So this is like more of the way we see the internet, in that in the beginning people perceived the internet as a connection of computers, just connecting all that. But right now we are going down smaller to watches, small toothbrushes, even toothbrushes themselves can connect to a network, and they give you information, maybe how you brush your teeth, which tooth you didn't brush, are you brushing the right way, such data. So even we go down to the smallest device that you can own at home, the small device that you can find on the road, the small device you can have in your business, in that it's connected to some network and it's sharing, collecting relevant information that might be able to solve a particular purpose. If we are to go to what are the challenges that what literally one would say, what brought on this concept of Internet of Things? What was the world facing that made them think, oh, we need to make interconnections between the smallest gadgets we have or the biggest gadgets we have, or like in that perspective. So when we come down to the I would say the three broad problems. One, we are looking at, if we go, the most important one is agriculture. We are looking at from most of the UN global report, the rate of human population is growing so high that the food production is a bit lagging behind, catching up with the population. What do I mean? It was estimated by by 2050, we will be having over 9.7 billion people. So how do we sustain the 9.7 billion people? We're already seeing some cases of famine in various parts of the world when the population is way low, but now 9.7. How do you sustain it? So that was among the. How do we make farming practices efficient? How do we increase our food production by over 100%? So that among the sectors that it was trying to encroach on and try to. Another sector would be the health sector, where we are looking at literally back in the days or some years ago, the life expectancy was a bit low, like how people were not exceeding 40s, 50s. But right now we are looking at life expectancy being over 70. Why? How best do we mitigate the slightest health condition? What do I mean? You don't just wake up and fall sick one day, no. There are a series of symptoms, signs that show up before you can actually fall sick. So how do we mitigate how do we stop the most critical condition from happening? Hence, we try to collect as much information from you. So how do we collect much information from you? We don't expect you to move with your computer everywhere. No. We can put maybe a watch. Inside the watch, we collect data, maybe your heartbeat, your sweat, how you are sweating, what's your such things. And this information can be critical to prevent a life-threatening condition that might happen maybe in the next 1 year, 2 years, or the next week, something like that. Yes, so also the infrastructure, what do I mean? Comes to infrastructure. So here we are saying that yes, the population is growing big, but do we have the right tools, the right structures, the right facilities to accommodate this? Let's say in 2050, the 9.7 billion people. So that means we have to find an optimal way of making sure that the resources are available, can be distributed, and they fit this heavily expanding human population. So this is also a challenge that needed to be tackled with the use of IoT.
So it comes like if we can implement, we can let like computers to be able to help us, whereby a small computer can send data to a bigger machine, which is a server, and then the server processes that can help us to solve that kind of a problem.
Yes, something like that. Other than we can maybe reduce the overload on our infrastructure and we bring the processing down to the user. In that by the time something reaches us, it's already in its fine context that we can use to maybe draw a few conclusions here and there.
That's true. So now let us look at a very specific sector. As you said that the population is growing, so there will be some challenges that will come with it. So among the challenges is you talked about famine. So it means that in that way we are going we have to look at agriculture, because this is the basic industry where we cannot survive without it, the food industry. So if we can look at the sector specific focus, let's explore the specific sectors. I mean, for example, like how can Internet of Things be utilized in the agricultural sector to improve the food security or farmers' livelihood in African-based environment?
Yes. So, farming. So when you look at when we go down back to the concept of demand and supply, when the demand is high, of course you have to find a supply, sort of something like that. So if the number of the population of people is growing so high, that means you have to increase food production. But gone are the days when we had maybe 2 or 3 seasons in that it was okay. Let me wait. I'll plant maybe in the next 4 months. During that time of you are waiting for 4 months, people might die. There is a shortage of food. So how do we make sure that we are able to maintain consistent food production throughout the entire year, rather than waiting for seasons? So this concept brought on various methodologies. Like say irrigation. What do I mean? Maybe you try to channel a river and it passes through your garden. That works, and many various ways. But this also brings out the downside. Yes, you have produced the food, but does it have the right qualities? Does it meet the quality that is needed? When you look at quality, for example, does it hit the benchmark? Yes, you might have supplied it, but low in nutrients. So this led to, then you're like, how do we make sure that we produce the right food? That means we have provided the right conditions for a certain crop to develop the right way. Hence, greenhouses were developed. And when you look at greenhouses, we are creating what we call a controlled environment that we can monitor to best avail the right conditions for the crop. But how do we monitor it? We need to know the moisture. We need to know the humidity. We have to look at maybe the color to know if there are pests. So, to maybe measure the pH, HP of the pH of the soil. Is it acidic? Does the crop require acidic conditions? So all this information. Yes, we are having pH, we are having humidity, we are having seeing pests and diseases using object detection, maybe with cameras. But how do we make it all have sense for us?
We have to collect as much as possible and lively as possible.
Yes. Yes. That means we have to find a way of connecting all these various sensors that are picking the environments around the crops. So we know to draw some bit of conclusion. So we connect the pH sensor, we connect to the moisture sensor, we connect to the humidity sensor, we connect all these tools, and then we know like, maybe these conditions don't make these conditions are not fit for this crop. Hence we provide maybe more, something like that. So these are this is what happens in greenhouses. But then there's a concept of smart irrigation. What do I mean? We have a controlled system that maybe measures the moisture in the soil and provides a specific amount of water that is required for that crop. Yes. With the growing number of Then maybe we go to pest control and prevention. With a big number of people coming up, that means we need large masses of land to grow the crop.
That's true.
This would lead to very high labor, hence high cost to actually bring all that labor. Hence, the cycle continues. Literally, you are hindering your own expansion of the farm. So, how was it solved? Right now, we are having, for example, if you look at the Netherlands, they are using drones to spray pesticides on crops. I have a controlled system. Then there are cameras in my farm. They use object detection. They sense, there is a pest here in this section of the farm.
So I can be sleeping as a farmer. So the system detects that they at this particular point, maybe in the middle of the night, automatically maybe the crops needs to be moisturized or to be sprayed. The drones can launch themselves and start spraying. For me, I find the job is already done by the power of Internet of Things.
Yes. So this has been aided both IoT and machine learning and artificial intelligence. So you find that maybe we get all the sensor data, send it to a machine learning model that is able to draw conclusion that, there is need to increase the moisture by 12%. There is need to spread the garden in the next 2 months. All this information is provided to you in the form of a data bank, in that all you're having as a farmer doing is getting reports of production, getting reports of the plant health, all the vital information, and this is all powered by IoT.
Yes.
Yes. So hence we are seeing that along the way we are creating solutions, or IoT is providing solutions that are highly scalable, cheap cost, because I have to hire people, I have to feed them, and they have to work on a very big plantation. That means that they could not be very efficient, but with a system in place, you find that it's very easy. You don't need to do any supervision. It's robust and resilient in achieving its task that it's designed to do. So hence this led to implementation of IoT in farming. We needed a more scalable, resilient, and effective approach to farming to aid the very big number of people and provide stable food supply.
That's true. So now, that is a very well elaborative response on that question. So now, if we look at healthcare focus, if you focus at the healthcare, so how has Internet of Things shifted the gears of the healthcare focus? For example, how has Internet of Things contributed to the improving on access quality of healthcare and disease prevention across the African continent?
All right. Okay, thank you. Well, when we talk about the healthcare sector, it is so big. It's a fact. There are so many conditions, from environmental, genetics, individual. It's so big. But how are we able to, how have we approached this, or how has IoT tried to approach this? In that we are living in a data, we are living in an era where data is important. What do I mean? If I have sufficient data on something, I can predict, I can assess the situation as it is. So how has IoT helped? So it has enabled, on one perspective, it has enabled the remote control of patients. For example, I'm a doctor, I have patient A and B. I don't need to keep a close eye on them. What do I mean? For example, if I got in a hospital, let's say, we can put them on machines. These machines have what they call parameters, for example. in that if a person maybe if a patient is above parameter A, B, and C, they are okay. The moment we detect that they are below, then they need immediate attention, and we can reach out to them. So, by providing us on real-time health situations of the patient, the most we can be able to know what kind of assistance do we need to give this person. For example, people with heart conditions. Right now, when you move around the streets of Kampala or any other city, Uganda or Kenya or East Africa and New Africa, you find people wearing a lot of smartwatches.
Yes.
Yeah, these smartwatches come with many functionalities. Yes, much as they can provide you with phone calls and stuff, they also have a health section. Under that health section, we're able to collect sweats. We're able to collect, it's able to collect temperature. It's able to collect the blood pulse and many other things. So all this information is run through maybe a non-system model, or I might say I need to direct this information to my healthcare provider. For example, there are so many companies out there in Africa that are providing this kind of service. They provide you with a watch that keeps track of your health, and in case of any emergency, they can respond very fast. For example, there's BeFit, there's Sunuza. These are some of these South African companies.
Now,
So
that was my question. Like narrowing down to Africa, if we make use of this kind of technology in the health sector.
Yes, we are trying to move. Actually, some have onboarded, others are trying to move because before we reach IoT, there is what they call telehealth. So telehealth is like a move like a road to IoT. For example, if you look at here in Uganda, we are already having some telehealth facilities. For example, Be My Doctor, many other companies have come up to push this forward. But again, some other companies are onboarding. For example, like I said, BeFit, telecare solutions. These provide Medicare, for example, monitoring of elderly with autism. Whereby you wear a device, it keeps track of your location, where you are, what your physical being is. Then we are able to provide. It is able, like the provider is able to provide with you the facilities you need. For example, people with autism are very delicate in a way. They can forget where they went. We need to keep track of where you are. Such things. So there has been a dynamic shift because of IoT in response to this sector.
So now that brings us to the next question on the education field. So what potential does Internet of Things hold in enhancing the learning experience and bridging the digital divide in the Africa education system?
Okay, so the education sector. So I think in some schools here in Uganda, some institutions, we have seen some devices that they put on the door to collect attendance. Yes. Hello?
Yes, I can hear you, Hilary.
Yes. To collect attendance. So that means we using IoT, for example, that information is sent out in regards to, and other parameters, and we're able to know if how often do you attend, how often do you show up in school, which lectures or do you show up for. Now this enables us to, or this enables the institutions to best customize a package that suits you. For example, if I know that you have been showing up for maybe 5 days a week, to the school, and maybe you are not catching up very well. You're like, okay, he's showing up, but maybe there's something else which is wrong. So you find that some schools, maybe for example, I've seen this in China, where they install sensors in classrooms. What do these sensors do? One, they do temperature control and humidity, because this is a factor that can also affect learners. You can't learn if you are not in a comfortable environment. Yes.
Yes.
They have attendance systems in place. When you show up in a classroom, we're able to know student X showed up in a classroom. Those are 3 parameters so far. Then inside the classroom, there are cameras that are observing behavior. For example, out of 10 students I'm teaching, let's say 10 students, how many are dozing?
How many are attentive?
How many are attentive?
And this is being done by the machine.
This is all being done by the machine. After noting that, students are also the teachers themselves are using smart boards. These smart boards also, for example, a teacher, all they have to do is just write the word maybe let's say IoT. Then the smart board can then automatically show a description of what IoT means in real time, or even it loads multimedia text or multimedia captions to elaborate more on the topic that the teacher is discussing in real time. Yes.
No.
And also we have also seen this where I think the ITAG can also do it, where we can keep track. For example, I send off a student to class. When they leave class, where do they go? We have students are attaching tags to students, whereby we know where, for example, if you leave campus, if you leave institution, where are you heading off to? So what we are looking at: GPS location, humidity, the temperature, attendance, and presentation. So all these systems are aggregated into one thing, and they can customize a package that best suits that student.
That's true. So that's also, of course, that is depends on how data is being collected from different devices and being shared by the power of Internet of Things.
True. Yes.
So, just if I can ask in there a question, is that now how far is Africa itself from that kind of technology in that particular sector of education
in general? So I believe we have progressed so far, because one would say my time I've spent in the field, I've seen so many projects. For example, there is the Admea project. It's a partnership between Tanzania, Uganda, and Netherlands, then also South Sudan, where they are promoting.
Okay, yeah, I think that brings us to our next question. Like, if you can tell us like 3 or 2 real world projects that have been implemented in Africa that you're aware of with Internet of Things.
Yes. So one is the Admea project. This is a partnership between Netherlands, Uganda, mostly Makerere University, Tanzania, and South Sudan, where they are promoting better ways of farming, for example, smart ways of farming, but mostly looking at the rearing of bees. It's because when you look at bee production, they provide resources, for example, wax, honey. These products are used in many other products in the world. So this project here, the Admea project, looks at how best can we rear bees. One, by collecting, for example, noise. They use IoT to design what they call smart beehives. Now, the smart beehives have cameras, they have noise sensors, that can predict behaviors of bees, collect information and then predict behaviors of bees. And then they can now alternate between environments that best suits the bees. That's one of the big partnerships I've seen in East Africa. Another one would be Renu. As most of you, I think you have interacted with it.
Which project? What? Radio?
Renu, they are providing LoRa technology to institutions, mostly.
Renu, yeah, I know Renu. Yeah, I know Renu, yeah. Yes.
Yes. They are providing LoRa to institutions and research organizations. So when LoRa would be, it's another technology that powers Internet of Things. It enables various systems to share information without having to connect to the internet direct. So LoRa is bridging this gap between systems and is bridging the gap between institutions, academia, where they can easily share resources between the two, various machines. You can design a sensor, talk to an institution, and then they allow you to use the gateways to share information over that sensor you have designed. So recently they have gone ahead to design what they call the Renu Mesh Plus Plus. This is a new infrastructure that is powered by solar energy, so it doesn't use any form of electricity.
Yes.
Yeah. So using solar energy, it can it powers itself and creates a network that enables different smaller devices to share information among each other.
So even if there is no electricity, it can keep on sharing.
Yes, even though there is no electricity, the infrastructure still holds. Why? Because the backbone has not gone down. The gateways are still active.
Now let's say
enabling.
Now let's say that maybe someone has listened in and they have picked the interest in maybe trying to explore this Internet of Things. Are there any NGOs or maybe government departments where someone can be able to collaborate and get support in this in our Uganda? Let's say Uganda, to be specific, where someone can get started with, like, are you aware of NGO that can support someone who want to explore the Internet of Things field?
Yes. So maybe let me begin on the institutional level. Recently, past 3-4 years, Macquarie University has set up various innovation labs at courses. That is a college of information and information informatics. They have set up various labs in that college, mostly powering IoT and artificial intelligence. So if someone is interested, all they have to do is just go to Macquarie University, go to the College of Information Systems, that one, and then they just have to walk to one of those labs and request assistance. These labs have been designed to best aid this. Now, this is a partnership between Macquarie University and China. Yes. So they are powering ideas. For example, if you have an idea that you need people to be exposed to, these labs can help. Yes. So at least I've been there. I've interacted with some of them. There's a new one which is constructed, and I think there's also another facility that has been put up at CTF Macquarie University. That's also for the same purpose. Then of course there are also other. When you go to Innovation Village in Nintinda, there are also various small sections that are powering IoT. When it comes to IoT developments, they small regiments. You can join one of the teams and be able to help. Then also there is a company, though this one is more on the commercial level, but they can help support us. It's called Innovex.
Innovex.
INOVX. So these ones, they specialize in building for you the mechanics of the IoT device. For example, if I have a plan and I want to build an IoT, all I have to do is provide with them my schematic diagram or how I want it to look, and they can design it for me.
Yes.
Yes. Of course, there's there's fundi bots in Kisasi, Komambuga. They based on providing STEM education and robotics and IoT. Actually, they encompass when it comes to hardware design and robotics and IoT. They are also good people to deal with.
So now, in Internet of Things, is there are there known challenges about scalability? Let's say that you have started maybe a small project, a local one based here in Uganda, or maybe based on your home, and you want maybe to expand it so it can be used by the entire country. So are there known scalability challenges in this field of Internet of Things?
Yes, there are challenges when it comes to scalability. For example, when we go to a nutshell how IoT works or communicates, it can communicate in many ways, but I'll try to break down the most used ones and what will be the challenge in using them. So IoT can connect through Wi-Fi. I think most of the people in the room they know what that is.
Yeah, true.
They can connect through LoRa. They can connect through what they call MQTT. It's a form of protocol. It's some other technology. They can connect through GSM. GSM, I mean putting SIM card there and they connect to the internet that we normally use in our phones. That's GSM.
Now, what could be now the challenges when you want to expand, in terms of cost and the limitations?
So initially, I broke down these ones so that we try to see what are the limitations. So, for example, when we are to use Wi-Fi, because we believe Wi-Fi is cheap, I don't need to pay for it, right? For example, if I have my small device, I can just connect it to any hotspot in case I have the password and it is done. But assuming you're having a small device in the middle of the farm and the station that controls everything is, let's say, 5 kilometers away. Wi-Fi cannot do that. The maximum limit for Wi-Fi is 10 meters. So you see that, yes, we want to connect the various modules, but they can't connect because the technology they're using can't send information to very long distances.
I think I have also tried to face some kind of challenge. I was working on a project. We wanted to track the current location of livestock, specifically cattle. So we had a device. We had a device that can collect the GPS. Itself can collect GPS. But the challenge is it needed to be connected to internet. And remember, this cattle has to graze freely. It can go anywhere. So it became a challenge, to keep it connected, to keep it with power, so you can be able to receive the GPS location.
Yes, there are so many. Actually, if you solve one problem, there's also another problem of power, because much as the higher the reliability of connectivity, in case you want to make the connectivity more robust, hence you face more power drainage.
True.
It is a counter. You solve one problem by countering the other, and it's a substitution game when it comes to this. So we have talked about Wi-Fi. To counter this, they've created what they call LoRa. So you find that LoRa is a technology that enables devices to share information without using the internet. It can distribute over long distances, like 5 kilometers away.
Oh, really?
So if you have to yes. If I have 2 points which are 5 kilometers away, I can still share information with them. Yes. But what is the downside now of LoRa? You find that there is a limited amount of information that you can share at a specific interval.
At a specific interval.
Yes, hence that's why in IoT we have a challenge of it's not good to share most media information. Why? Because the infrastructure might not be might have bandwidth problems and it might fail because we're having so much information on the infrastructure.
I would like you to shed some more light about LoRa. So this LoRa, does it communicate to our normal internet, or do you need some internet in somehow? Who can be the service provider, or it is a wide range Wi-Fi in simple terms? Just as a brief light.
Okay, LoRa, the way it is LoRa. It is an abbreviation for long range.
So it is long range Wi-Fi kind of, should I say?
Not Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi is a different technology. But long range is that's the name, long range, but it uses what they call radio communication. The way we have our AM and FM radio.
Okay, what I want you to make clear for me is it does it send information directly to our normal internet, let's say our normal servers, without any service provider like MTN or Airtel? Or it picks service provider and acts like Wi-Fi, like you have to have at least still well, how does it connect with the internet, like on the normal internet?
Okay, so I would say that LoRa is independent of the internet. What do I mean? It's that it's using radio frequencies, the way you tune on your radio and listen to, let's say, Kabo's Kubiri or Mama FM or any other radio station. It uses radio waves to send information between different devices and gateways. So we have what they call a gateway. A gateway is the main station that receives the information from the various sensors. But this gateway is independent of the internet. The only way we can connect it to the internet if we design a bridge that sends that converts that information from the radio waves into data that can be shared on the internet. Then we share it on the internet, but it is independent of the internet.
So it is some kind of separate network using different technology.
It's a separate network that has.
So if you want to connect to our normal internet, you have to work with this gateway in order to send information to our normal internet.
You have to work with the gateway. The gateway is configured, let's say, or can be configured or adapted to send information to the internet. So you add on some extra component to make the gateway be able to send information to the internet.
I now understand. Now, very last question is, how is the future of Internet of Things in Africa?
So looking ahead, I would say IoT is playing a very transformative role in African development. The trajectory is looking like it's exponential. It has promoted more innovations around Africa. For example, we have seen, if you have been around, let's say here in Kampala, you have been around in Tinder, you see that most of the people that are designing systems, they are based around IoT. For example, there is a team of Ugandans that developed a security system. I forgot the name. But this security system, I'm going to look it up shortly. This security system has won multiple awards around the continent, but it's being powered by IoT. It's sending out information there. You get a small module, put it in your house, then it's able to sense around the house, send information to other modules that are near it, and we are creating crime-free neighborhoods around. Yes. So aside from that, we have seen various summits being held around the world. For example, recently we had the IoT conference in Dubai. That was last month. And we had representatives from Uganda going out there to get mentorship on how to promote IoT development inside the continent.
That sounds good.
Yes, so there has been improved quality, the smart irrigation around. For example, if you go to those ends of Kachira, you see that they use some bit of tractors to irrigate the plants. This is all powered by IoT. We have seen the Admea project that is running in East Africa and parts of those, the Sub-Sahara. That's all IoT. The future is looking right. We're having a project running here in East Africa and it's scaling up to those ends of Western Africa. That's Airco.
Airco, yes, it's already here in Uganda.
Yes. So this is being led by Professor Engineer Baino Mugisha, and we are looking. His emphasis here is looking at how do we sense air quality around various regions of Africa. So they are creating and this project was funded by Google. So there is very big developments that are happening that are being powered by IoT.
Of course, at the end of the day, in order for the data to make sense, it have to be collected and submitted to somewhere so it can be analyzed and help in making decisions. So it means that you have to still find a way how to implement IoT in your devices, in whatever device that you're using. All right, so that will bring us to request you to give now your very final remarks to the people who are listening, and then in case there's anyone with a question, you can just request. You press your microphone to request to speak, and then I'll allow you. What are your remarks, like your final remarks about this particular topic of Internet of Things?
So, in my conclusion here, IoT, I'm a bit optimistic about the potential that IoT is doing in addressing the various African development challenges, and it's driving positive change. What do I mean? Despite all the challenges that it's facing, people have come up with better ways of approaching and solving them. So we are looking at an exponential growth in all major sectors, from transportation, infrastructure. Actually, now we are looking at smart cities, an initiative that has been started in Africa, creating smart cities, has better traffic control. We have seen the cameras on the road. So I see a bright future where which is creating many opportunities, unlocking many opportunities in Africa. And I'm looking forward to continue conversations on this topic because it's really interesting. And I believe many people need to know about it and see why the things that are happening around them are happening, and what's the technology that's actually powered them.
And I think that industry of Internet of Things is still very virgin in Uganda here.
Yes, it's a bit virgin.
Why do you say a bit? Because yes. I don't see a lot of developments here in Uganda. People have made websites, people have made mobile apps, but there are few who have come up with Internet of Things solutions. So that's why I say that it's really virgin in Uganda here.
I would say yes, it is there, but it's the thing about IoT is that it is in the things that we are not like really looking at. For example, everyone is driving, and most people are driving automated cars. They have GPS sensors, they have GPS chips, right? You have, for example, you have your car vendor, the company collecting diagnostic data about your car that you are driving. And maybe they notify you of the next service you need to do, or to be careful, or to tell you that, oh, maybe your door might break in the next maybe 2 months or something like that.
But remember, those solutions are being imported and they're expensive. Let's say that you want to install an automated camera in your house. It will be expensive if it's well connected to internet. So in that way, can't we find our own solutions? Like just like the way you see, Google has almost made everything. It has made Google Maps. It has made almost everything, but still we always find an opportunity to come up with also a local based solutions that someone will still leave Google and still come to a custom made local solution. So I think there still is a lot of ideas that if someone thinks critically, they can still be able to do some solutions in that field of Internet of Things.
Yes. So yes, the land, it's a bit virgin. It hasn't really scaled to where we really need it to be.
Yeah,
but like I said, it's growing exponential, and I've seen the government take initiative on promoting these developments. For example, the change of curriculums to suit develop, let's say, people in an engineering way. I've seen it's most of the College of Computing, they have changed their curriculum and trying to push more of embedded design, trying to add more of hands-on development when it comes to students that are taking on IT. So this is directed towards innovation around hardware, around networks, around IoT. Yeah. The government also has a ministry called the State Ministry of Science and Innovation. That is SIT. Yes. They have some initiatives that are around innovation. I think we have seen this in the Science Week.
For me, the perspective I can look at it is like, how many websites have we built in Uganda? Millions of websites. But how many solutions of Internet of Things have we made in Uganda? Handful, just a few. All right, so I'll request you to share how people can contact you, and then we close.
All right, so...
and what you do. Yeah.
Yes, IoT is a growing trend, and with time it will grow. So very soon we shall see more people contributing towards it. Yeah. Maybe to reach me, you can on LinkedIn. You can do. You can you can just search for Daddy Hillary. Find me there. That's LinkedIn. Let's see if I can share a link somewhere here in the chat.
All right, so thank you so much for the time. We shall definitely invite you again for different topics, or even going much more deeper in this particular topic. We really appreciate. This recording is going to remain here on Twitter Space, and we're going to put also on our YouTube channel, where people can be able to do what? Can be able to listen even after the recording. So 8Learning is a platform where we provide different courses in technology or in the industry of technology. So in case you want to learn more about 8Learning, you can just go to our bio of this account and then find their website, click on it, and then you'll be able to get much more details about 8Learning. Once again, I thank every member who has been part of this up to this point. I also thank our guest Hillary for turning up and giving us these insights. We shall meet again in the next webinar or Twitter Space that we shall consider which topic we should talk about, and then we shall be able to share with you, and then you'll be able to join us again next time. All right, at this point, I'll call it a day, unless there is someone who has a question. I said so, and I think no one raised their hands. So I hope everyone understood what we talked about. Let me see here in the chat. There is no question. All right, we call it a day and goodbye. So next time we shall share again, and we shall be happy to have you again turning up. See you in the next session.